Welcome to April 29th, 2020 virtual top meeting. We are so lucky to have one of our very own original top members, Vanessa Romo, all the way from now Dietitianville, because she is now a registered dietitian. She started in my class and was sparked in Nutrition 300 to like, oh my gosh, this might be something I love. And she followed through, went all the way through Sac State, battled through a dietetic internship, took the big exam, passed the big exam. She is now a registered dietitian. All right, fantastic. And she, like many of us, loves food. So she is back to do a legume loving recipe. And yeah, take it away.
Okay, well, Timaree already kind of explained who I am. So I'll just go in with the recipe I'm going to make, and I will let you know kind of why I chose it. So I specifically chose legumes because I feel they're very important, especially with plant-based proteins. And that's what everyone asks you about, like, where do you get your protein? And legumes in general all are a great source of protein, but I feel, well, I don't just feel, it's true, that lentils are like the star. They are amazing. They have more protein than their other counterparts, and high amounts of iron, fiber, so many great things. So I decided to choose lentils for that. And also because when I was a kid, I never ate lentils. I didn't really know they existed. My mom didn't really make them, except sometimes in soups, and they didn't look appetizing. So when I took Timaree's class and she was talking about plant-based diet and eating more plants and staying away from animal products, I said, okay, I want to do that. But I didn't know like how to cook, what to do, but I wanted to do it. So I decided to give it a try. And one of the first recipes I made was actually this one. So that's another reason I chose it, because it's one of the first ones where I started. And I found it was amazing. Another reason is I'm Mexican and tacos are a big thing. And it's a question I got a lot. Oh, so you're not gonna eat tacos anymore? It's like, you can make some good meat-based, or not meat-based, but meat-like textures and flavors without using meat. So that's a plus to this recipe. You don't get to not eat what you like. You still get to eat your traditional foods, like me, Mexican tacos, and you enjoy it, and without the horrible side effects or eating animal foods, cruelty-free, plant strong. So let's get started. I'm gonna switch the camera over, and I already cooked the lentils. Let me turn the light on. Oh, light's not working. But I did the lentils because of time, and then I had already sauteed the onion. So the only thing, I'm gonna turn it out again, I didn't want them to burn, but I have over here some cauliflower rice. To save time, I used the frozen cauliflower rice bag. And then I have some spices here to give it the flavor. So I have chili powder, cumin, smoked paprika, chipotle, a little bit of turmeric, salt, and pepper. And then I like to give it a little boost with red wine vinegar. It kind of just gives it a nice flavor. So I'm going to add the cauliflower. I don't have a stand. Let me just place it down for a little bit, just so I can put the cauliflower in. And the spices. So this doesn't take much longer. It's just kind of getting the flavor in and getting the cauliflower a little bit cooked. Since we are using the frozen one, it's already it has already been pre-cooked, so it kind of saves you some time as well. If you want to save time, you don't have to chop, and you don't have to worry about the cooking process as much, since it's already kind of pre-cooked. Have any of you made anything similar to this? Any like lentil meats or something similar? Have you tried it? No?
I put my own version of it in the cookbook, So anybody who's taken my cooking class, we made that in class, but have you guys made something like that at home?
You tried it?
I recently have when my family was doing enchiladas. So I made the lentil and cauliflower filling from the book and used that for the filling for my enchiladas. But I didn't. I don't know. I think I may have riced the cauliflower, but I'm not exactly. Now I can't remember. I have some left over in the freezer so that I have it for later as well.
Yeah, so you can use it for anything. So I think the enchiladas is a good idea because, you know, you have some sort of stuffing in there that's very similar to like a meat enchilada. Well, that's cool.
And Camille said on the chat that she does the lentil tacos as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kathy, what did you say on the chat? I need to.
No cauliflower?
Not with cauliflower, but just lentils.
Oh,
lentil
okay.
taco.
You could also do lentil walnut meat, and it's essentially the same thing with seasonings and all, but you omit the cauliflower and do some walnuts that are finely chopped. But I like the cauliflower. It yields a lot, and it's inexpensive. Again, lentils are also inexpensive, and that makes it great. You save money, and it makes a lot. It makes a lot. So now
And when you use the whole head of cauliflower, depending on how big it is, it can be an amazing amount of yield. I mean, when I make it with one head, it makes a ton. But we found, Vanessa and I were on Fox 40 a little bit ago, and we did the cauliflower ceviche. And we tried it with the frozen cauliflower because you can get the organic frozen cauliflower. And it worked without having to steam it or anything because it's blanched. So if you have access to it, that's another option. But if you can find, when cauliflower goes on sale, some of those heads are gigantic, and that makes me happy. So keep talking. I'm sorry, how much of the spice did you use?
The amounts were just kind of general to taste, but it's about like a teaspoon, half a teaspoon of cumin, and just a little bit of the chipotle powder. Kind of depends on how spicy you like it. And then I had just minced onion and garlic prior to adding it on here. For the cauliflower, I just probably used, right now it looks less, but it was like a cup and a half. I didn't use much because since it's just going to be for me and my family today, I didn't want to make too much. So that's another advantage of using the baggie. You can kind of control how much you want. You can do it the same with like a head of cauliflower, but it's just easy and convenient. And then just so it doesn't stick, I add a little bit of water.
But
that's another thing I learned.
Head big.
Oh yeah, if I want to make it for a lot of people, definitely I do the whole head, and then I just chop it up in the food processor. So now that that's ready, I'm gonna add the lentils. And it's just only a few minutes and it'll be ready. So you can see. And then the smell is amazing.
Let's talk lentils. So there's more than one kind of lentil.
Mm-hmm. These are the French green lentils that I'm using.
So you want lentils that will not disintegrate, and you don't want to cook them so much that they just mush. One of the mistakes that I've had students make is they use the red split lentils, and then it just, like, it's perfect for a stew, but it's not perfect for this recipe because it just disintegrates. It just mushes out. So red lentils are great, but not for this recipe. Another option could be the black lentils because they tend to hold their shape as well. So you just want to be aware of that and cook that separately with garlic is how I do it.
Yeah, so these ones hold pretty well. As you can see, I didn't overcook them, and I just cooked them in water with some garlic, and then I rinsed the water out and just left them standing there while we started the demo. So we're almost ready. We can just kind of taste the flavors and see if you like it. If you think it needs a little bit of more spice, you can add some more chipotle powder or chili powder or the red wine vinegar, it just makes the flavors kind of burst more. Gives it that kind of like the chorizo kind of flavor pops with the red wine vinegar. So
That's
I think
a good tip.
it's ready now. Oh, and then this original recipe, I got it from the website Fat Free Vegan. And it's essentially the same thing. The only thing I change is that I add vinegar, but it's the same. So this is ready. And over here, I'll just show you real quick before I assemble. I'm gonna prepare it in some romaine leaves. Also, I made a pico de gallo, just simple. My mom made some salsa because she makes the best one, so I trust her more than me. And I have some avocado. I had this from yesterday in the refrigerator, so it's a little bit brown, but you can tell it's not that brown because I learned a tip online that if you put like your half of an avocado, save it with a chopped piece of onion, and it doesn't brown as much. You can see it doesn't really brown. So I like to do that when I don't use a whole avocado. Especially, this one's not that big, but sometimes there's like really big avocados and I'm not going to use it all. And I don't really like when they brown, so that onion trick works really well. And the lime, of course, I cannot eat lentils without lime. It's funny because the lime enhances your ability to absorb the iron from the lentils. And I just feel it's nature's way. Even if I wouldn't have known it, I instantly need to add that vitamin C, that citrus to the lentils, that my body needs to absorb that extra iron from the lentils. So I'm going to add some mixture to my lettuce and show you how they look. Let me get a spoon. Hold on. It's a little hard since I don't have a stand, so I have one hand free and another one's moving. Let me see. So just spoon a lot of it into it. You can, of course, do this with tortillas, like corn tortillas. Prepare it however you want, and you can add like guacamole or like tofu sour cream to it. I've done it before with that, and it adds a nice little touch, and the white little drizzle on top looks pretty too. So very simple to make, inexpensive because it takes away that misconception that eating healthy is expensive. We're using lentils for meat, and it's very funny because I made these recently, maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I made some for my brother. Obviously, he knows they don't have meat in them, but he ate them, and he didn't know what they were made out of, even though you can clearly see they're lentils. And then when I was making him some more, I mentioned lentils, and he said, "Ew, I don't like lentils." I said, "You just ate them. Don't say you don't like it. You just ate it." So it's that idea that you just say you don't like something, but you haven't tried it before, or maybe haven't tried it in a way that you like it. So you can see. And for the pico de gallo, it's just tomatoes, onions, cilantro, and some jalapeno with some salt. It's very simple.
They look great. Don't forget to take a picture.
Nope. I'll take the picture before I actually have a picture from last time that I made them too. So.
Oh, okay. No, that's awesome. So two things on the chat. So Adrienne said she's been watching a YouTuber named Tabitha Brown, and I actually watched part of the video that she's referring to. She's making a pecan filling for tacos, but that's a lot of nuts, and that's basically, she had some mushrooms that she added, but it was a bunch of nuts, and pecans are expensive. At least
they are.
In my world, they're very expensive. So that's something that I would be a little shy about just because of the high fat content and the cost associated. But she also has mentioned that she's not a big fan of lentils. So I would love for her to put in the chat, what about it? Because lentils will vary significantly on the texture, right? So if you have a mushy lentil, that's a totally different experience than even like a black beluga lentil that will stay nice and firm. So Adrian, you'll have to chat what about lentils, because like Vanessa explained, and you can tell she's taken my classes, right? She says, well, maybe you just haven't had it prepared in a way you've enjoyed it yet.
I learned that from your class.
Yes, because that's true, like night and day. I mean, cauliflower is a great example. There are people who've been tortured with overcooked, mushy cauliflower that has no flavor, that won't even get near it. I mean, or, you know, where it gets stinky because it's the sulfur compounds, they get overcooked. And that is night and day compared to cauliflower wings. Remember that we had Claire and Lynn come and do a demo, or this cauliflower lentil recipe, night and day. So yeah, it's looking good.
Beautiful.
So yeah, maybe it's the texture, similar to peas. Yeah, I think it is the texture. So if you overcook them, then they're going to be mushy, but they don't have to be. Yeah, so it's something that you want to play around with. Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Yeah,
What other parts? Go ahead.
Oh, I used to only see lentils in soups, so I had never thought of making something like this before. So when I tried them the very first time, like, wow, these are amazing. And also like in salads, you can marinate them with like balsamic vinegar and lime, and they get another flavor. So it's just kind of playing around with different, you know, foods and textures and seasonings. So if you don't like it in soup, you might like it in tacos.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And what's a benefit of lentils versus another dry bean?
Another dry bean?
Yeah, what would be the benefit of lentils over like black beans in the dry form? Anybody know?
I mean, I just know they're superstars.
They are superstars, but you don't have to soak them. You know, if you're going to cook from dry, right, then you don't soak lentils unless, that's right, Ken, they cook faster, unless you want to sprout them, which we talked about a couple meetings ago. But if you just want to cook them, I'll go get some. Do you have some uncooked that you can show? So because I actually have students, who don't know what lentils are. So if they're watching this,
I didn't even think I knew they existed, but they were almost non-existent in my world. So these are the ones I have. You can get them in the bulk items, but right now bulk items are like closed because of safety.
right.
But this is how they look. They're just like little pieces of, and they yield so much.
They do yield a lot. And the idea is lentil like lens. It's like a little, the shape of it is like the lens in your eye, or like if you think of a little saucer, like a flying saucer. And Ken also mentions that he doesn't find that they produce as much gas in his body. So yeah, absolutely. They can be very well tolerated by a lot of people. And there's really not a lot of flavor, although lentil soup can be fantastic too. Mm-hmm. So we love lentils. We love legumes. We love all lentils and legumes. Anybody else have questions? I don't see anything else on the chat. So how long did you cook your lentils at? And you just took a bite. Sorry.
So I put them with water. Then once it started boiling, I reduced the heat and I covered them for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was about a cup or a little bit less than a cup.
That's what I put in the cookbook too, about 20 minutes. But just be aware, if you let them sit in that water,
they'll cook more. That's why I rinsed them.
You got to lift them out to make sure, that you're getting all that hot water, because they will be done. And I'm trying to, does anybody do lentils in the Instant Pot? I'm almost afraid to, because not a soup, that's fine, but to cook lentils because they would be so fast. I think it might be like, I don't know how long, 1 minute or something, if you don't you know, a minute could be really fast. So just be aware, because you can overcook them. And it's not a big deal if you overcook them. It's just know that the texture is going to be different.
Really good.
Yeah, very
try
tasty.
them, and if you don't really like lentils, just give it a shot. You might find that you change your mind. There's lots of foods that I change my mind about after, you know, giving them a shot, because I know nopales, the cactus that lots of Mexicans eat, I thought they were gooey and gross because of one experience when I was a kid. And they looked good to me, like they looked pretty, but I never wanted to try them just because of that one experience. And around the time that I took Nutrition 300, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give them a shot. And then I found out they were amazing, and now I love them. So it's maybe one experience kind of makes you not want to try it ever again, but it's kind of like with picky eaters, you just have to give it at least 6 tries.
At least 6. Can you come back and do a cooking demo with nopales?
Oh yeah, I just recently made a nopal recipe. It's kind of like the nopal is kind of like a tostada base, and I added some beans, some black beans with chipotle and some pico de gallo and salsa, kind of like this. But instead of a tostada, it was the nopales. So yeah, I can do that. Yes, no, I want to see how you do that. Very simple, and they're super expensive too.
So maybe we'll put you on the schedule in May. Would you come back in May?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe 3rd week in May, or, you know, because I want to continue doing this through the summer as much as we can. If we don't do it every week, then at least every other week. And I'm going to write that down, because nopales would be something that most of us wouldn't necessarily even think about substituting for a tostada. And I love that idea. And I want to hear from everybody else what other things they want to see, you know, recipes or ingredients or topics. But yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Yay.
I hope you make and try and like.
Yes, definitely.